Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Today we are going to do a 7 looks 1 palette using my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. This is the palette that is going in my project Level Up that was started by Sophie Alexandra. I was really intimidated by this palette, so I wanted to challenge myself to doing like a full 7 looks, or like what would be a full week using this palette. I did stretch this out over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, just what made sense and how I could film this. The dates to all of the looks will be in right here in the video. You'll see what look it is and when it was filmed. That way you know how long it took me to film this. But this is actually the last look in the 7 looks. I will have timestamps down below, but I will just do a quick overview of all of the looks, just some quick shots of them with the title of the look in the bottom corner. But yeah, I really enjoyed using this palette over the past couple of weeks. I definitely don't have my goals met in this yet. However, this has given me a jump start. I've now used every single shade in this palette at least one time. So we are 1/3 of the way to hitting, or maybe not even 1/3 of the way, because we still have 3 pans that we have to hit, but we're 1/3 of the way of using each shade the 3 times needed. There are a handful of shades in this palette that I've already hit my 3 uses for, which is awesome. And if you didn't see my Shop My Stash / BYOP video, I will link that in the cards, but I am going to use a spot in my BYOP to always fluctuate a shade from this palette. Really, that's going to be the focus shade that I want to hit pan in. So I currently have one in my BYOP that I'm trying to hit pan. So if you're curious what that is, just go check out that video. But yeah, there are going to be timestamps down below for the looks that you've just seen go across the screen. So you can, if you're only interested in one or a couple, you can click the timestamp and it'll take you to wherever it is. But I am not going to have, I toyed with the idea of including the details of my face makeup and everything. That way you can know what I was wearing. However, I finished things up in the process of filming this video, so I have a couple different things that had to switch out, so I'm not going to have all of the details listed down below. However, if there is a look that I'm wearing that that I also filmed a different video in, the information should be in that. But yeah, let's just this is a very long video, so let's buckle up, grab a snack, grab something to drink. Hopefully, or maybe you're watching this or listening to this while you're cleaning or cooking, or I don't know what, doing your own makeup. So you have an allotted amount of time to just listen to me yammer on. But buckle up, y'all. It's a long video. I will see you soon for look number 1. Okay, so we are going to do look number 1 using my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. As you can see, I've already taken the shades out that I've planned on using for the first week or so. They're in this little 5 pan. I have 4 shades from here in this, and then I have my Pan Those eyeshadow shade Cloudy Blue, which is that middle one. I just thought these 2 blues went really well with it. And then I like these 2 in combination. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a look using all 5 of these shades. I'm not going to use Cloudy Blue in every look. I kind of thought about it just to get my Pan Those eyeshadows usage. But I think just since it's in this 5 pan right now, that's kind of what I'm going to use for today's look. But yeah, I'm going to be using, let me go over the shade names. Golden Beige is this guy. We have, oh gosh, what are you? Okay, so the shades that we have from the Purple Blue palette are here. This is Golden Beige, followed by Cool Plum over here. This one is Steel Blue, and then this one is Smoke. So I am going to use all of these in my look today. It's going to be predominantly a blue look. I am wearing a blue sports top today. So I'm going to kind of try to match a little bit. I've already primed my lids. I'm probably not going to go over all the details like this, prime my lids. Every look, I'm going to just start with primed lids. But I will tell you what shades we're going to use before the looks go on. But yeah, there is that. I'm going to stop talking and start putting makeup on. So I'm first going to go in with Smoke, which is that darkest shade. And I have done this look before. I did like a trial of this look. I was playing around with makeup one evening and I really liked how this looked. So that's kind of what I'm going to re-emulate, that kind of look. And I kind of want to wing this out a smidge. I've been kind of like super into these more like elongated eye looks the past like 2 weeks. Like ever since I did that mint chocolate chip look with like the minty and then the brown, I've been super into like this eye shape for some reason. Okay, I think that's relatively even. And I'm not too worried if there is a little bit of fallout. I have that concealer powder. I've shown it before. I will touch up anything that gets a little too wild and outrageous under my eyes. But I am going to take the shade Steel Blue now on. This is an Artist Loft paintbrush. I'm going to take a little bit of that, just a touch. I tapped into it a couple times, tapped it off. And I'm going to buff the top edge of the shade Smoke. So I'm going to do the same thing, just pick up a little bit and then just keep blending over. And then I will bring it into the crease in the front portion of the eye. So the front has a little softer blend than the outer portion. The one thing about the purple blue palette that I think makes it a little less user-friendly is there's no like real soft transition shades. Like if they put something like Stone Face that was in my pan, those eyeshadows, I think that would make a world of difference. But there's no like super light, like super blending shade in my opinion. There just needs like one like lighter shade that could like cross over to both the plum and the blue tones. Haley, I flippin' love this thing. Thank you very much for sending this my way. I don't know how I was getting by without one of these at all. So I'm taking just a clean brush now and I'm just going to buff the edge with no product on it because I don't really want to pick up another shade, like a separate shade. I just kind of want to utilize these 5 shadows. All right, then I feel like Smoke got a little lost over on this, well, both sides really. So I'm going to take a little bit more Smoke, which was that darkest shade. Just amplify that outer corner. I'm really trying to not bring it high into the crease either. I really don't want it to like the depth to get away from me. I am just going to use my finger to pick up Cloudy Blue. I don't feel like grabbing another shader brush. It's just so far away from me right now. So I'm just going to tap that on the majority of the mobile lid, leaving like the tiniest bit of my inner corner. But I am going to take the brush that had Smoke, not picking any product up, but I am just going to kind of lightly blend into the shimmer with it. Okay. I am actually really digging this. I like this a lot more than I did the time before I did it. So that's cool. So I am going to take Golden Beige, which was that lightest shimmer shade, and I'm going to take it on a teeny tiny like shader brush. I'm going to tap that into the very inner portion. I'm going to lean forward so you can see hopefully a little bit better. All right, and then I'm going to take the finger that I was using. There's like clearly nothing really on it. We're not using what was on there. We're doing this, and then we're just going to try to blend Golden Beige in to Cloudy Blue. I don't want to like tap too much or go too wild and crazy. We're just doing a very light tap. Then I'm going to take Golden Beige again and tuck it on like the lower tear duct. And for me, honestly, like I don't think the shimmers of Natasha Denona are extremely hard to pan. I've panned a couple already. Like this was like untouched before, and I think that you can tell there's a little bit of a dip even this guy, I haven't used it a whole heck of a lot, and there is definitely disturbance in there, but the mattes are like incredibly like pigmented and pressed in there, so it's hard for those for me to show progress. The last shade that we have to use clearly is this guy, and I alluded in my palette bingo. If you haven't seen it, that shade was in my palette bingo. I'll link it in the cards. I like this shade Cool Plum on the lower lash line. It looks so good, like smoked out and blown out as well. So I'm just picked up a little bit. I tapped into it like boop boop, and then that's kind of all I'm using for the lower lash. All right, and now I'm just gonna clean the brush that I was using as well as I can inside of this. This thing needs to be washed. All right, so I've taken all the product off that I possibly could off of this thing, and now I'm just gonna buff the lower portion of the shade so there's like a seamless blend from where that shade is and my skin actually, well, I guess technically it's like concealer and stuff, but where my skin tone is. All right, and then I'm gonna take that brush that had absolutely nothing on it, and I'm just going to, very lower portion of it, we're just gonna blend again. This is kind of like a haphazard step. Like I don't look at anything. I'm like literally staring at my wall right now. Just trying to get that a little bit more blended, and I think you can tell. It just looks so much more blended, like not as like I drew a streak on my eye or anything like that. It just looks really blended out. But I am going to pick up a little bit more of smoke because I kind of want to marry those two shades together. I literally tapped it once. Very outer portion. Nothing else. Just right there. And flicking it up mostly. Not like I'm not bringing anything down. I'm just flicking up lightly. Last thing, I'm going to take the brush that I was using for that lower lash line shade. Just gonna buff. This time I'm going from where we deposited the color, kind of fluffing it into that lower lash line brown. And then the last thing I'm going to do is take that big fluffy brush that had nothing on it. And again, I don't really need to look and see anything when I'm doing this. I'm looking at my another wall, my closet doors. Actually, I don't feel like it really gave me a whole heck of a lot of fallout. I feel like I'm a little bit more blue down here. I'm not really too fussed with it. So there is that, but I really like this. So let me just give you the full look, I guess. So that is the finished look using this 5-pan from my Natasha Denona Purple Blue, excluding this middle shade. I think the next time you see this, well, happily, I've used every shade from the Purple Blue in this thing 3 times now, so I can just like swap them out for whatever shades I want now. So I think every time you see a look, it's going to be a different 5-pan configuration. I think that will just be exciting. I am not planning on using a cloudy blue in every single look. It'll just kind of get tucked away. But that is the first look. I hope you guys liked it. I really like this. I wasn't expecting to like it as much because I kind of switched up a little bit. I did like a different eye shape than I did previously when I did like these colors on my eyes, and I placed them a little bit differently. But I really think that I'm staring at it. I like cannot stop. It's so pretty, and I think it goes really well with this like blue sports kind of top that I'm wearing. But yeah, I will see you in just a second for my second look. All right, it's the second day, day 2, look 2, using my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. I have pulled the shades that I want to kind of use in this next round, I guess. So I'm gonna just go in order of what we have here. So I know a couple of the shade names. We have Piggy, which is that guy there. I have Calypso Blue, which was actually in a, what was that project? My Fantasy Self Showdown that I did with Haley last year. So that is that guy there. This guy, Maroon. that's maroon there. I have electric violet here, and then this is a look or a shade that we used last look. This is the shade Smoke. I wanted like something dark blue in the mix. So those are the shades that I pulled out of my Natasha Denona purple blue palette to get some use on. I did actually prime my lids using my red P. Louise base. I just thought I found out using my Druid palette by Fantasy Cosmetica that I like these kind of duochrome shades on top of a red base. So I figured why not just kind of get an extra use out of the P. Louise base and bring out the like more colory kind of shade that is Calypso Blue. I have to use it 3 times even though it has pan. So that's kind of why we're doing this. Also, Bandit is in here. He has like, I give him like a muffin tray and I put his food in it. So he's just like having a great time eating right now. So you'll probably hear him munching and crunching, pulling food out of like the muffin tin during this video. So if you hear like a puppy eating, that is exactly what it is. It's a puppy who has decided he wants to eat his breakfast lunch in my office with me. So there's that. Yeah, I'm going to start by using that shade. What was that? Electric Violet. We're going to start with that. What brush do I want? Just a fluffy brush. This one's from Morphe. If this look turns out like complete garbage, I will be very sad. I was very excited to use this 5-pan actually today. Not often where I'm like, yes, give me purples, but oh my gosh. The children drama. Ripley, come on, buddy. No, you're a good boy, Bandit. You're just minding your business. And I have, the red base did get a little out of control when I was applying it, which again doesn't bother me. I have a powder concealer that I will use to kind of touch up the areas where they're red and any fallout that I get, because I am not the most careful with my eyeshadow. I just kind of like slap them on. Typically I do my base last so it doesn't bother me, but for these videos I just kind of wanted to slap my base on so it's one less thing that I have to do on camera, or like then turn the camera off and come back and all that jazz. So there's that. So as you can see, I like went in pretty heavily with that purple shade. I am going to take a little bit, I'm cleaning my brush off on like whatever this like spongy thing is. I am going to take that pink shade that was in my BYOP. I'm going to take that and just buff the edges out, just like right up here. Totally don't have to do this step, or I mean if you're following along on any of these, I just kind of want something to help that transition area. I am gonna just I really want to liberally apply Calypso Blue. That is the really pretty duochrome shade. That's gonna be like the star of the show in this look. If I can find a brush that I want to use. Bandit is going like hard with his chew right now. So now that I have Calypso Blue all over the mobile lid, I am going to take Smoke, that like deep navy shade. And I'm going to put that on the outer corner just to help deepen the look a bit. I think I may have messed up a bit. I'm going to take the shade Maroon, which is that center shade, and I'm going to put that kind of on top of Calypso Blue, and then I'm going to re-tap Calypso Blue on top. Maybe just that center portion back. I just feel like there's something about the way that that purple shade and Calypso Blue that I didn't love initially. So I'm thinking kind of using whatever shade that was, maroon, to help kind of blend in. That might be what I kind of want. And now I'm taking Calypso Blue again, and I'll go right back on top. Maybe I'll just use my finger for that too and call it a day. I'm going to take the brush that we used, whatever that matte purple shade is, Electric Violet maybe, this guy. I'm not going to pick any product up. I just want to buff the edges of the crease out again. Then I wiped the brush that I was initially using Calypso Blue with, just a shader brush, and I'm going to pick up Piggy now, and Piggy's going to go right on the inner corner. All right, then I want to clean up the lower lash line area a bit. I didn't get a whole lot of use out of that middle shade. I am going to take that maroon shade again, this guy, or, that guy. And I'm going to tuck that on the lower lash line. I wiped the brush off that I used Smoke with, that navy. And we're just going to put this right on the lower lash line. I'm kind of concentrating it right in the center of the lower lash line. Then I'm going to take that clean brush that we were using with Electric Violet, buff the edges out. I might even dip into Electric Violet again. Actually, I think I am. I'm going to dip into Electric Violet now. Really, really lightly tapped into it. All right, I'm going to clean the brush off again, and then just kind of like I said in my first look, I just kind of go wild and crazy with my blend. I don't really look at anything. I just kind of buff out as much as I possibly can. Then I'm going to pick up that shade Smoke on the brush that I was using with it before. And I'm going to put that on the very outer portion of the lower lash line, kind of bridging where we put it before. And then taking the shade Piggy, again, the lightest shade in the quintet that I pulled, and I'm going to really reinforce the inner corner to be brighter. Let me go throw on some mascara and everything, and then I will be right back. All right, that is it. That is look number 2, using this 5-pan palette pulled from my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. And I have to say, this arrangement is not my favorite. So I'm going to struggle, I think, using some of these like more red toned purples. They're just not my favorite kind of shades on me. I like the, I liked this one. I really liked the cool toned like purple. I think I like cool toned purples way more than these warm toned purples. Warm toned purples just kind of make me feel like I'm bruised, if I'm being quite honest, because that's like the color my bruises turn, is like this kind of shade, like sometimes even like in this realm. So I am going to struggle, I think, reaching for the purples much more than the blues. Like look 1 with the blues, I was like, that look is perfection. But yeah, you'll see me in 1 second for look number 3 in my 7 days, 7 looks using my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. So I'll catch you in a second. All right, we're on to day 3 of my full week of Natasha Denona Purple Blue. I've already pulled my 5-pan out, but I want to just tell you the shade names that we're going to be using today. So I have Piggy, which was the shade we used yesterday. Then Golden Rose, which is this guy. Nina's Orchid, Nina's Orchid, which is this. This one is Aubergine, which we used in the palette Bingo that I filmed with this. And then this guy is Vintage, and I thought that that would be really pretty on the lower lash line. So I kind of want to just like, I have, I'm going to do a little bit different eye shape than I did before. I'm thinking halo eye. So I've already primed my eyes using my P. Louise red base, again, project pan. So I'm just trying to get some use out of it, and I figured since we're doing purples, this would be a good excuse to use the red base to help pronounce some of the more red tones. And we're going to just get started on the look. So I'm going to take Nina's Orchid to start, which is that middle shade. Beautiful, beautiful shade. buffing brush. I was going to say buffy brush. Buffing brush. Just a blending brush. And that I kind of want to just put into the crease and up into the transition. I'm taking a little bit at a time. I will blend and then I will literally just tap into it and then blend again and keep doing it until I get my desired opacity of the shade. All right, and now that I have that purple shade Nina's Orchid down, I'm gonna take just another, like a non-existing in the palette shade. I'm gonna take just a transition-y, like I could use the gray, I could use a pink, like it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna use the pink just to buff the edges. All right, so there now is a little bit more blended. So the next thing I'm going to do is take Aubergine, which is this guy. I'm going to tuck this on the outer and inner portion because we're doing a halo eye today. That inner portion, I'm going to take it and just like have it a little bit lighter than the outer portion. All right, and then I'm going to take Nina's Orchid, that middle shade again, picking it up on the brush that we used it before. And I'm going to kind of pat it on the top portion of where we just placed Aubergine on both sides. And then just buff it lightly. Yeah, just on top of the Aubergine shade. All right, so I cleaned the brush off and I just wanted to buff the edges again. I'm going to take Golden Beige something, Golden something. I'll have the name on the screen. I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to put that in the center of the lid. I'm just going to use my finger. It's just going to be so much easier. Ooh. Ooh, I like how that pairs with that purple. So I've never actually paired this shade with purples before. Funny enough, I never used to like these kinds of shades on me. Maybe it's just because I didn't know how to pair them. And I like them with this purple. I really like it with this purple. Oh my gosh, that is super, super pretty. I'm going to take the little tiny brush and I'm actually going to pick Nina's Orchid up. I want to kind of, you'll see. I'm going to maybe zoom you in a little bit better. So I'm going to just put it like right on the outer portions where I just put that golden beige shade. All right, and then I'm going to take Aubergine, that guy, and tuck it on the outermost corner. I don't think I want to bring it on the inner corner again. I think the inner corner is like deep enough right now. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. I'm very surprised that I like this as much as I do. Definitely out of my comfort zone. Really brings out the greens of my eyes. Oh my gosh. Lower lash line. We're going to take Vintage, which is this like super cool toned, like grayish kind of, oh gosh, you can't even see me. Super cool toned grayish kind of shade. Gray purple. I'm going to take it on a different e.l.f. brush, crease brush. It's a little tiny pencil brush. So I'm going to take this little tiny pencil brush and dip into Vintage. And that's going to go on the lower lash line. I feel like some of these shades that I'm putting on the lower lash line, the shades that I'm not like super keen on, it's kind of like a cheap spot, but at the same time, hey, it's getting my use in. So I can't really like complain too much, you know? All right, then I want to take Nina's Orchid again, the super purpley purple. That was a weird sentence. I'm taking it on the buffing brush, really gonna tap her off, and then lightly on the very bottom of where we just put Vintage. I just want to buff that a little more, tying everything more together than it was. Man, my green eyes are really pronounced with this look. Really pretty. All right, and the very last thing that I need to do is take the shade Piggy again, that beautiful, like super soft color. I have another pencil brush that I'm just gonna pick up Piggy with. It's like funny saying that as an eyeshadow shade. It's piggy. So I don't know why. It's just funny to me. We're just going to tap her right on the inner corner. Maybe I want to take a tiny bit of golden beige and put it right on the center portion. So I'm going to take the same pencil brush, just since it has the lighter shade on it. And I am just going to tap it right there. I'm cleaning off the same brush. I really just like, I have a lot of eye brushes, but I like to kind of reuse the same ones so I don't have to like have a bunch out and have a bunch to clean. So I just keep cleaning them and using them for the same purposes or different purposes. Picking up Piggy on that, and we're going to tuck her on the brow bone. I think the shade Piggy is one that I'm going to try to hit pan on because there's like a dip in it already. Can you see that? The dip? I'm sure you can. So I think Piggy is going to be one of my shades that I'm like going to try to hunker down and use. So if you see it in all these looks, that is why I'm going to hit pan on one, at least a inner corner kind of shade. I haven't really decided what other shade I want to hit pan on. I have to do 2 more out of the palette, so I don't really know. But there is that. All right, so I was not expecting to like this look as much as I did based on just like the colors I pulled. I was like, this is out of my comfort zone and I'm really not gonna like this, but we'll give it a good try and just see. I love this. I think it looks better in person than it does on camera even. So I am like kind of obsessed. Is this the look that's gonna turn me on to purples? Maybe I just had to pair like something super beautiful like that center shade with them. Man, I just can't believe how much that like really brings out my eyes. Absolutely wild. But that is look number 3. Stay tuned. In a second you will see look number 4. I can't believe we're almost halfway done with these looks. So now we are at look 4 using my Natasha Denona purple blue palette. This beauty right here, I've already taken the shades out as I've been doing for these looks. So I have the shade Glaze, Satin Skin, Rosewood, Aubergine, which has been in like all of my purple looks, and then this is Deep Slate Gray. I have been really leaning in towards the purples because the purples are what scare me in that palette. So I figured why not just lean in and like really try to use them. So the first thing I'm going to do is use this very stained brush. I used this to like pat out my red base, but there's no like actual color coming off of it. So I'm going to pick up Aubergine first. It's that dark matte plum. And I am going to put that on the outer corner. I am actually getting ready to work today, which is like an exciting thing to say. Like after a month off, I'm like, I'm going to work, and I will do like a full get ready with me after I've been there a couple weeks, and I'm excited to share with you guys where I now work, and it's very exciting for me. So I'm just like very roughly putting that on my eyes, and now I'm just going to take a clean blending brush, and maybe not this one actually. Maybe I want something like this. This brush is completely destroyed. I actually feel like I need to pick up another one of these. This is the e.l.f. blending eye brush. I really liked the shape of this and like how fluffy and flexible it was, but I'm going to use this to buff out the edge. My bristles like straight up came out of the ferrule the other day, and I just like shoved them back in. I was like, no, I'm not ready for this to be gone. All right, this is not working out how I wanted it to, so I'm going to take the brush that I intended to initially use, which is this like more dense blending brush. This is not sold anymore, and the number has rubbed off, but just like a super dense blending brush, like small, dense blending brush. And then I'm going to take this blending brush, just like a more traditional styled blending brush, and I'm going to take Satin Skin, is that what? Yeah. Satin Skin, which is a satin shade, but I think that it'll play nicely in the crease. So we're going to try. So there's that. And that's going to go, yeah, right. It definitely is more of a satin, but it'll be fine. Then the shade that I was like the most, actually like surprisingly the most excited to use was Rosewood. This is not the original shade that I had in this quintet, but I was like re-swatching my quintet out just to make sure like I still vibed with it from when I pulled the shades initially, and the middle shade that I had in was like way too red toned, so I swapped it for that one, and it's so pretty. It is very, very pretty. So I am gonna just use my finger to apply it. So just take a little bit of that. It's not my normal go-to kind of shade. Like these, it's still like warm toned, but it's like, it has enough warmth into it that it's not like, makes me feel like I'm bruised or anything. All right, and then I'm gonna take the brush that had Satin Skin on it, that second shade, and I'm just gonna buff the edge of that out. Then I'm gonna go in with Glaze, which was the lightest shade. It is super, super pretty. I'm gonna use it on my pinky and then tap it on the inner portion of my lid, or like the inner corner, inner portion, yeah. And Glaze is more of that like taupey kind of shade. And I'm just kind of going back and forth between the fingers that had each shade on, trying to build up, but also like blend, and so they look more seamless on the eye than just like plopping them on would be. But this is really pretty. I really like this. Okay, I'm gonna take the brush that had an aubergine on it. I'm gonna pick up, and when I say like I'm tapping in, I mean I'm literally doing this. And that's it, just pressing it into the shade. All right, and I'm going to pick up Satin Skin, same thing. I'm just going to tap it in there. And then we're going to blend the edges out again. Now what I'm going to do is just wipe everything off of this brush, and I'm just going to buff the heck out of the very top portion of the crease. So the last shade we have to use is Deep Slate Gray, that guy, which is definitely more like plum toned. It's very pretty. There's a lot of like dimensional shimmer in there too. Very, very pretty. So I'm going to take, this is like kind of my cheap shot area to put a shade, but hey, a use is a use. We're using 5 looks in a, or 5 shades in a look, and I got to do what makes sense to me, especially since I'm going to work. I don't want to look like, not that it really matters, but I don't want to look like too crazy. So I'm going to just tuck that on my lower lash line. When in doubt with a shade that you're not like super keen on, lower lash line, good to go, good to go. All right, so that is kind of what we're looking like. And now I'm going to take that little blender brush that we used to blend out aubergine initially, and I'm going to just use that to blend out the lower lash. And this is a really good size of brush for me to do that. So hopefully you can see the difference. All right, so now that we've blended that out, I am going to take the shade Glaze one more time, that first shade, and I'm going to tuck that in the inner portion, like the inner corner of the look. And then I like to tie a little bit more of my inner corner shade down under my tear duct as well. Like just like that. I'm going to take that blending brush and just do a once over. All right, super quick. This look took me 15 minutes, which is very nice. All my other looks have taken me like over 20, I think. Fully, this, I'm looking at my recorder timer and it says 15 minutes and 35 seconds. So that is how long it took me to get this. But let me just put my mascara and liner on and I will be right back. All right, so that is the finished look using this quintet from my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. Again, Glaze, Satin Skin, Rosewood, Aubergine, and Deep Slate Gray? Deep Slate Gray? Yeah, so that is the 5 shades in one look. And I hope you guys enjoyed this look. It's definitely like just a very like easy glam everyday kind of look, and I am actually like really feeling, I really like mauve tones on me. Like I've been growing into mauves, so these aren't like too far off, especially aubergine kind of blended out. Rosewood for sure is like perfect for this kind of look in my opinion. And yeah, just stay tuned for look 5 in just a moment. All right, so this is look number 5 in my 7-day 7 looks using my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. This guy, again, already pulled the shades that we're gonna use. Clearly, we're gonna go with the blue realm today. So I'm gonna just tell you what I have in my quint. So I'm gonna look down, I'm just gonna hold this in front of me. We have gray brown, steel blue, metallic steel blue, Cotow, and Deep Pacific. So I'm excited to use this. I'm going to just do like a super blue, clearly. I look using this. I'm going to go in with Cotow, that one right there. And I'm going to take it on my fluffiest blending brush. This is an Artist Loft paintbrush. This is the number 9. If you're curious, I got mine at Michael's. And I kind of just want this to be like a true blue, like smoky eye. So this Cotow shade is going to be the lightest transition. I find like this color just in the pan is like one of the prettiest shades of blue possible. So stunning. Just like a true like sky blue. Hopefully the lighting's not terrible today too. It's super, super gloomy and overcast today as it's been leading up into April. All right, and now that I have the color deposited from that brush, I'm going to take just a I just cleaned this blending brush, and I'm going to use it to buff the edges, the very, very top portion of that like crease transition area. Next, I'm going to take a very small crease brush, and I'm going to pick up that matte steel blue. It's just called steel blue. There's no matte in front of the name, but it is the matte steel blue shade. I'm really like tapping both sides of my brush so it gets an even coating, and I'm going to look down into my mirror and just place that a little lower than that transition went. All right, and I'm going to pick up Cotow again on that same brush that we used it with, and I'm going to tuck it right on the top of steel blue. And now my star of my show that I want is the metallic steel blue. I think that this shade is so stunning. It is so pretty, and I've never once put it on my eyes, and like every time I swatch it, I'm like, this shade is just so gorgeous. So pretty. So I am going to put that all over my lid. And then we're going to, on like the very portion closest to my lash line, we're going to put Deep Pacific. So I'm going to start with steel blue, and I'm going to load it on this like fluffier kind of packing brush. It's like very hard for me to explain it, but I think that'll let me blend it into the crease a little bit, but it's like a firm blending, if that makes any sense. It's very hard to describe this brush in particular. All right, I'm going to pick up more of that, the counterpart, the matte steel blue on that same brush, and then just the very top portion of where that metallic one was. All right, and then the brush that had nothing, just to buff the very top portion out again. All right, and then the last thing I need to do is actually tuck a bit of Deep Pacific on, well, it's not the last thing, but the last thing I need to do right now is tap Deep Pacific, which was that shade right there, closest to the lash line. So I'm going to take a pencil brush and just keep it real tight on the lash line. And because I don't want this to be like a straight line, I'm going to take metallic steel blue on that brush that we used, tapping it, and then I'm just going to lightly buff the top edge of Deep Pacific into metallic slate blue. All right, I'm going to go clean up my under eyes because they are looking tragic. I'm going to clean those up and I'll be right back. Oh man. This is not looking the best under my eyes. Hopefully, in my monitor, it just looks off, and like in the video that you're seeing, it looks better. Who knows? This is the price I pay for doing my base first today. It is what it is. The next thing I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to take the same brush that we used with Deep Pacific, but I'm going to pick up Steel Blue. That's kind of what I want on my lower lash. We're going to pray that this doesn't give me any more fallout and any more like jarring under eye colors. I'm going to take that brush that we were initially applying Steel Blue with, and I'm just going to use that no product to help blend that out. And then finally the brush that had nothing on it, and we're just gonna go bananas with this one. And then last but not least, the shade that we haven't used yet is that gray brown, that guy there, and that's going to be our inner corner color. Hopefully it's not too dark for this, but we're gonna see. We're going to see. It's definitely not super brightening, but it is gonna, no, that is not gonna get the job done. Okay, I am going to put that gray brown shade on the inner portion of my lower lash line. So we'll just run her down there. So getting into my purple blue, I'm going to take the shade Chromatic, which is the silver, and I have a little cheat in the pan. There's like a chunk that came out when I was labeling them once upon it. This doesn't have a mirror, I'm just holding it up. That's going to be our brightening inner corner shade. Perfect. And then the last thing I want to do is take a brow bone color for highlight. And I think I'm just going to use Piggy, which is a shade that I'm going to attempt to pan. So we'll just grab her and put her on the brow bone. I am going to take my concealer brush one more time and just see if I can assist with this blue under eye situation that I seem to have given myself. But I'm going to put some mascara on and I'll be back. All right, so this is the finished look number 5. It's definitely not my favorite. I really thought I was gonna like this. I think the thing that's throwing me off is just when I look in the monitor, I have a lot of blue, like it's turned like green from my under eye concealer. In person, it looks a lot better, but in the monitor, it looks super off. I think if I were to do my eyes first and then have done this, I think I would have liked it a lot more. But I really thought that I was going to like this a lot more. Just like with that shade in general, like is so pretty. And I was like, I'm dying to put that on my lids. And now I'm just like, it's okay. Like I like it. It's not my favorite. I would actually be fine washing this off and like redoing my makeup, which is what I might do. That's look 5. I hope you guys liked it. Definitely not my favorite. I'm happy that I leaned into the blues, but who am I? I liked the purples more. So there is that. But thank you guys so much. Stay tuned. You'll see look 6 in just a moment. So this is look, I think, yes, so this is look 6 in my full week of Natasha Denona, or like 7 looks with my Natasha Denona purple blue. I pulled my quintet out already. This looks very similar to, I think it was look 3's quintet, but it is different. I promise you that. I just looked at the shades that I pulled and they are different. I was really channeling wanting to match a little bit for my shirt. I'm getting ready for work currently, so I really only have like 20-30 minutes to film. So let's just talk about the shades first that we have in this quintet. Starting over here, I have the shade Piggy, which is in my BYOP for this month. I have the shade Satin Skin. I have, what are you? Lavender Gray is that middle shade. This one is Nina's Orchid. And then over here, we have the shade, oh gosh, what were you? Smoky Plum. And I'm super excited to use these. I think it'll match my shirt really well. So I'm excited to like kind of color coordinate in a bit. So yeah, I don't have too much time, so I'm just gonna start, oh gosh. So I'm gonna just start applying. The first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the shade Satin Skin. It is a satin shade, but we're gonna use that in the crease. It's fine, it'll be a-okay. Okay, now that we have Satin Skin all over like that transition area of the crease, I really like that look. I don't know if you can really tell in camera, but it's super pretty. That is like a very pretty crease shade. I was not expecting to like this shade as a crease shade as much as I do. So there's that. Always good things to find out when we force ourselves to use shades and palettes, you know? Then the next one I want to go into, I'm going to pick it up on the same brush, I think, and I'm going to go into Nina's Orchid right there. I'm going to just like kind of load my brush up and then put that slightly lower in the crease. I'm trying to take care not to like get so much fallout on my eyes today because again, I am going to work after this, so I don't want to like have to pivot and fix things more than I need to, you know? It was definitely a gamble doing my base makeup before my shadow today when we're doing like vibrant purples, but that's okay. It is a-okay. So now that we have Nina's Orchid all in the crease, what I'm going to do is take Smoky Plum and we're going to use her on the outer corner of my lid. So I am going to take a bit of a dense brush. This is like super circular but flat. I use this brush as well to blend out any colored bases that I put on my lids. I like a brush like this for that, but today we're using it to apply this beautiful Smoky Plum shade. And that's going on just like the very outer corner. Cool. All right, and now I'm going to take the shade Lavender Gray, that guy there, and we're going to put her all over the lid. This is a very quick look. I didn't want something super like difficult. Filming these videos and editing them as I go has been a very humbling experience as to how long I can talk. This video is very long, so thank you for sticking through. If you made it this far, put a purple heart emoji. Any purple emoji, actually. Just put it down below. Just curious how long you made it. There's that. And now I'm going to pick up a little bit more Nina's Orchid, which was the matte shade. This guy there. Why did I make a sound effect to go with that? And I'm going to use this to blend out the edges again. Ooh, I definitely just got fallout on this cheek. I don't know if you can see it. I can see it in person, so I'm going to try my best to just dust that away. We'll see how we go. Okay, I think I've dusted the fallout away as much as I can. This little black thing near my eye is just a mole, so there's that. Yeah, so now that we've dusted away, I really like how this is looking, to be quite honest with you. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to pick up the shade Piggy, which was the lightest one, because we're going to tuck her on the inner corner. You guessed it. This is a shade that I'm trying to hit pan in for the project level up. Just kind of why I wanted to do this video, as like just inspiration to myself to try to get some use out of the shades. And if I use the shades that I originally pulled today for my look number 7, I will have used every shade in this palette at least one time, which is really exciting to me, because the project is to hit pan, or that, I mean, yes, to hit pan, but the goal of that project is to, since this is my level 3, the goal is to use each shade 3 times and hit 3 pans. So I have my work set out for me to hit pan, but I've kind of given myself a head start with touching all of these eyeshadows, which I'm super excited about. I'm taking Piggy just on my lower inner corner. I hope that makes sense. This eye will show it better. But yeah, I'm super excited that I think there's already like 5 shades that I've used 3 times at this point. And excited to just continue to make really solid progress on these. Then I think the last thing I'm going to do is take Satin Skin, since it kind of got lost in the other shades that we put on. I do want to put that on my lower lash line. So I'm going to take it on this like super dense shader, fluffy shader brush. I don't know how to really describe it. It's a stiff blending brush that's kind of like pinched on one of the sides. So there's that. And we're just gonna put her on the lower lash line. We're just gonna buff out the lower portion. And then I'm going to take my initial brush, I'm going to clean it off, and then I'm just going to buff the bottom just to help blend out, what was that, Satin Skin a little bit more. All right, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a new, I was wearing just a gloss, I'm going to put a lipstick on and then like finish the eyes, like mascara, my brows, eyeliner, that kind of jazz. I'll be right back, okay? So thank you guys. Well, I don't have to thank you yet. But if you want to see look number 7, just stick around for another second. It's going to come up next. Welcome to the final look in my 7 looks with my Natasha Denona purple blue palette. And I am nervous about this. I'm very nervous about this because we're doing predominantly blue eyeshadows with that like pop of copper, like red copper kind of shade. So let's just go over the last round, the last quintet that we have in this rotation or in this video. And after using this, I will have used every single shade from this palette in this video. So the first shade over here is Quicksilver. Then we go to Petroleum Blue. Over here is Powder Blue. Then this deeper shade is the shade that's navy, and then this shade right there is Oxide. And the shades that I have not quite used yet are Oxide, Deep Pacific, and then this Petroleum Blue. So those are the ones that I have not used yet in my Natasha Denona purple blue palette, and today's the day we're gonna use them. We're gonna use them. I had an idea for a look, but that would require an additional shade, and I kind of just want to use these ones. So I mean, I know what I'm going to do is Oxide right here is going to go in the lower lash line, and then the top of the look is going to be just these blues. We'll see. We will see how things look, how things shake out in this look. I'm very nervous about this one, if I'm being very honest. So the first shade we're going to do is this shade here, which was Deep Pacific, and I'm going to take that on the blending brush I've been using throughout at least the past couple looks at this point. And that is going to be our crease shade. I'm definitely trying to keep this shade to the inner portion of the crease because we're going to use the other matte shade, Navy, in the outer portion and as our like deepening crease shade. So now that we have that deep Pacific shade down, I am going to take that shade Navy, which was this guy, and we're going to put that a little lower in the crease and then in the outer corner as well. And this is going to be put more towards the outer portion and then blending into the center of the lid. All right, I'm going to grab this brush that we put that first shade down with, and I'm going to not have any other product on it. I'm just going to start blending Deep Pacific, that first shade, back towards Navy, and just kind of using whatever is residually getting picked up and pushed back to help blend out that shade Navy. Okay, so that's how that is looking. Then I want to actually just clean up. I'm getting a little bit of fallout down here. Then I'm going to go ahead and take this shade here, Petroleum Blue, and I'm just going to pick it up on my finger and then put it on the like halfway and then a little bit more backwards though, towards the outer is what I'm trying to say, back towards the outer portion. So kind of just doing it right at the center, like where if I was looking straight on where like my pupils and irises normally are, and then just blending that back towards that deepest crease shade. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with the shade Quicksilver, which was this one. I'm going to use my pinky because I want to put it right on that innermost portion and then blending that into the Petroleum Blue that we just laid down, the first metallic shade. Ooh, actually, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna take a brush and I'm gonna take that initial shimmer Petroleum Blue and I am going to put that all over the lid. I don't think Quicksilver is gonna blend that nicely and give me as much light as I want right there. So I'm just gonna put this one down first. And then we'll just have to grab a highlighting shade. And I think I'm gonna use one of the highlights that I pulled for this month's Shop My Stash. So April's Shop My Stash. A little bit different than what I was planning on doing, which was Quicksilver in the inner portion. So what we're going to do is use those two for the shades in the lower lash line. And first I'm going to pick up a little bit of, let's put Oxide like in the center, and then Quicksilver on both of the outer portions. I have no idea how this is going to look. I really have no clue. So we're winging it. I'm going to try to not block the camera. Okay, I'm wiping that brush off. Oh, actually, I think that looks really pretty together. So at least there's that. Now I'm going to take Quicksilver and we're going to put that on the outer and inner lower lash line. Again, I have not tried these colors together, so I really don't know if this is going to turn out. So we're going to hope for the best. Like, it's going to be fine. We're going to just put that out there. So that's not half bad. I'm not mad at this. Then what I want to do is clean off that brush that I was using for the first shade. I like desperately need to wash this like quick change makeup thingy. I need to wash this. But I'm going to take this brush and I'm just going to blend the lower lash line out. I really have no rhyme or reason of how I'm doing this. I'm just blending away. In my Shop My Stash this past month, I pulled out my Kaleidos Space Age highlighter in the shade Skywalker. So I think what I want to do with this is first I'm going to put it on the inner corner of my look. I wish this had a mirror in it. I'm just like, and there's nothing in there usually. Clearly, there's nothing in it at all. Okay, so I'm going to take that Skywalker shade and place it in the inner corner of the look. That's still not as bright as I really want it, which is like kind of insane how I'm like, more, more, more. I always love a very impactful inner corner though. And I think what I want to do is take that brush that we applied the shimmer shade on the lid. I'm going to take that brush. I'm going to pick up some of this highlight. I don't know if you can really tell. And then I'm going to lightly tap it into the look. So you'll see. It's a little hard to explain. Not a ton. I literally just want to bring it a little bit up from the inner corner. Okay. Yes, exactly that. And then on top of that, since it's not as bright as I really want it, if I'm being quite honest, what I'm going to do is take one of these Lemonhead LA glitters. I'm going to use the shade Phantom, which is just a little bit more, it has a shift that's a little closer to this kind of color. You can't see anything, can you? It has a little bit more of that like blue shift, whereas the other one that I have in my rotation is Houdini, which is more purple toned compared to like what this look is. So I'm just going to pick some up on my finger, on my pinky, and just on the inner corner. I don't know if it really makes any difference on camera, but I feel better having a little bit of a glitter. For the most part, that's it. I'm just going to do a little bit of a blend right out here. I'm like side-eyeing another mirror, and it looks like it just needs a little bit more attention to the blend over here. All right, and then I'm going to put mascara on and a tightline color, and I will be right back. All right, so that is the finished look for look number 7. I hope you guys liked it. I like this. I ended up liking this blue look much more than, I think it was look 5, where I just was not feeling it like at all. I don't know why, because I really liked the shade that I used for my lid shade, but I just think this one is like so much more like bam in your face, which is beautiful. I partly wish that I would have used my blue base to help enhance, but like it's fine. There's many more chances that we can use that blue base in the course of using my purple blue palette throughout the month, or couple months, until I hit my 3 pans and 3 uses in each shade. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate you clicking on this video, hunkering down for the hour plus or however long this video ended up being. Hopefully it was bearable. I don't know. Leave me a blue or purple emoji down in the comment section if you made it all the way through, just so I know who actually made it all the way through. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys taking the time today to click on this video. I hope you guys are staying healthy, sane, and safe, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye!